when you're wrapped up in my arms, dancing to a reggae song. Feel good, feel good, I feel good. 'Cause your perfume is loud, and only I can talk about. Feel good, feel good. You feel like velvet rubbing all through my skin, and then your hair dances on my chin.
All right, little Beres, Hammond, I Feel Good. Oh, like literally one of my favorite artists that exists. Still living. He actually did he do? No, in VIP Records. It was something that he did relatively recent where he was just playing everything and it was just amazing. So, anywho, I'm Regina Clark. I am on a mission to make this world a better place. I am primarily doing this through mentorship and sharing resources. I'm sharing a bit of my own personal experiences and just the things that I've learned along the way to help people overcome certain things so that they can achieve the life that they want. My primary way of doing this is stating things, sharing things in a positive light. There's enough negativity in this world, so how can we really think about these things from a point of what do we want and focusing on that, eliminating the whole don't want list and focusing on the things that we want, and in the absence of the things that we want, then we realize the things where we need to fill the gap. So that really manages the don't want list. So definitely check out the green flags video on that vibe, and you know, even the vibe of law of attraction and living in the future state and the things that you want. So there's a reason, rhyme and reason for moving like that. So today, on that note of Beres, Hammond and I Feel Good, is visions. I really want to talk about the vision for your life and really making we think about the things that we really do want in our lives, right? Sometimes when there's moments of not having certain things that we want, we really focus on that piece, that one piece, and really just, primarily focus on that. But when we're really clear on the vision for the life that we want holistically, because a lot of things kind of shimmy over and fall into and blend into in each area, right? You really have to just be clear on the vision that you want for your life holistically so that you can essentially achieve it. So when you have that clear direction, then you can march towards that goal. It's just like any big business, right? Any great CEO is going to have a vision for the company and where they want to take the company. Yes, you may not get there immediately. You might have some steps to go, but your vision is your North Star, and the way you start to create things and systems and whatever have you that really creates that clear pathway to achieving that goal, the vision, the mission for the company. So really, you're the CEO of your life, and you have to take that time to get clear on the things you want. We're switching it up. We're not going to do from the don't state, right? You want to make sure you're operating from the point of what you want and not necessarily accepting what your norm may have been in the past based on the way you may have lived, grew up, or whatever have you, or the things that people may say. You really want to think about, you know what? This is the life that I want. Here's examples in the world in which this has come to light for other people, whether it be people who are close to you or people who are distant from you, but you know there is the true realities of that being the thing that you want, and you've learned a little bit about how they got there. So that's the thing. So some of the things you want to think about for your vision is the areas of life, right? So you think about your emotional needs and vision for your life, like what state of mind, what is your vibe, right? Positive vibes only? Is that the energy that you want to live by? What do you need to do to have that positive life, vibes only kind of energy in your life? I feel like for me personally, it's a moment of really understanding and learning about shadow work. So, and learning about your feelings, learning about noticing the things. So what things bring you joy? For example, one thing I had started to do when I was really going like hard with this work is I actually got a journal from Amazon, like this, the things that it says, it makes no sense, but on Amazon, it was on sale at the time for like $11, and it is, for me, and it has a lock. It's my journal specifically for gratitude. And so it has a little lock that I just unlocked, and it has actually some notebooks, it's like just a journal. You could actually replace the journal here. So it's pretty cool. I would say like, go on there, maybe save some for later or whatever. When there's a sale, you can pick up some. So again, like for me, yellow bright energy, I chose this as just for gratitude. So this is where I write my gratitude stuff. So that energy and making sure I'm noticing the beautiful things in the world. So that's that emotional part for me. And when you get really good with noticing the beautiful things and noticing it in the moment, and especially if it's a person that did something that was great, being able to communicate that in real time so they can also experience that good energy, like just energy spreads. And are you going to be the person that gives off the energy or just like Debbie Downer, So you want to be that good positive vibe, in my personal opinion. But that's for you to decide, is what's your emotional area of life? How do you want to experience that? And I just named one layer of it. But the other things, physical, right? So what do you want to have in your life in terms of your well-being? Let's consider that. How you keep yourself in shape. Do you value, muscle tone? I kind of fell off, I will say that. But what are ways that you're thinking about your health, your physical well-being? Is it maybe you're considering, maybe going hard with the gym isn't your thing, but maybe it's your diet. You think about that. Maybe also considering how you're going back to emotional, but your mental health. So you get rid of the cortisol thing. You can't get rid of it, all of it, right? But minimize it, then that actually leads to other things that don't help your physical health, right? So there's things that you could do to then help you with that physical health portion. Some people may find, again, it's easier to sort out your diet to get the shape that you want, or exercising, combination of both, or maybe it's not as important for you. You have to figure that piece out. Before I get to this one, I'm going to go with time. Time is something to consider. If you, especially for me, oh my goodness, time is like here for me. So if I give a person my time, that means a lot. If I am foregoing doing something else that really could move the needle in my life, and I'm spending my time with a person, huge, 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 huge. So, and also what's considered time is something you don't get back. So time, like what is your vision for your life when it comes to time? Do you want to have something done by a certain age? Do you want to spend most of your time doing X at a certain point in your life, or now, or whatever have you? But how are you gauging your use of time in life? People you spend it with, the things that you're doing. There's actually one time I actually did a Gantt chart for my life, which, I wasn't looking at it every day. It was interesting. I set it up as something that was every week, but just doing the exercise of doing a Gantt chart of like listing all these activities and then putting time blocks, like just knowing, okay, you only have this many hours in a week. How are you allocating that time? X amount of time goes to work, large chunk. So really when you start to see how the numbers play out, then you're like, wait a minute. I don't love this particular thing, but yet it's taking up more than 50% of my time, my life, right? So looking at that Gantt chart from a year perspective and just looking at how I outlined how I was using up all these hours really made it quite helpful to realize when I needed to like cut something off and like switch gears and really make sure I have the life for myself that really felt good. So really managing my time differently by bringing how I was using my time to the forefront of my mind. So really getting that data together. So another one is contributions. So spirituality, or your contribution to the world, is that important to you? What does it look like? Contribution to the people around you or things or whatever have you. So thinking about that. For me, it's sharing things with people. It's helping people not have to step on the landmines that I've stepped on in the past. So another point is career. So how are you managing your career, your professional life? So what does that look like for you? What do you want for it to be? Do you like working for someone? What about it do you like? Is the current position you're in, is it giving you the fulfillment that you need, that you desire? Have you really thought about, in a perfect world, what would I be doing from a professional standpoint? What does that look like? How do I attain that? But with clarity gives you the ability to actually attain it. So that's something to consider. So also, if you're an entrepreneur or want to be an entrepreneur, what does that life look like for you? Are you talking to other entrepreneurs? Are you talking, or have you worked in maybe a startup environment or small business environment to see how the day-to-day is being managed and what it realistically looks like? And also not running away from one thing to get to entrepreneurship to say that, you know, you have the more control, or it's going to be this other life, or just really knowing and understanding and starting to learn like what that entrepreneurship life looks like for you. And that's the key thing. So from the working for somebody, the man I always call it, versus working from an entrepreneurial standpoint, that looks like. So getting very clear on what is the energy, or what sort of environment do you want for those aspects, depending upon which avenue you choose. So if you're not getting the fulfillment in said company, you can actually communicate that information, the key desires that you want, with your boss to help you get that fulfillment in your current role. Again, it doesn't always have to be that you're leaving something to attain something. Sometimes it's about the communication aspect. And you'll hear more about that on another video. So we hit up emotional. We talked about physical. We talked about contribution. We talked about career. Did I say time? Time. I'll say it again if I did. Finances. So one of the things to think about is, what do you want? So in talking about all these different things, layering in finances. What does your life look like? What do you want and desire, and what are the finances that go with it, that matches, that are congruent with that lifestyle that you want for yourself? Are you taking it upon yourself to have the habits, create the habits that will allow you to have that finance life that you're desiring, that enables you to have the life that you desire? But getting very, very clear on what your values are and what you want for your life, and the finances that it takes to have that life. Sometimes people will have this goal of having this financial goal that is up here, but the lifestyle, the things that they value, might actually require finances that are here. So you have to evaluate that so you're living a congruent life. So, you know, you might be working so hard to get to that point, but you're missing out. Your opportunity cost is you lost out on living the life that you really value and desire, and having the finances that fit within that role. So having this clarity around the lifestyle that you want and really value in your life will help you get clear on the finances and really march towards those goals. Sometimes to get here, you might need to pull back a little bit on your life, or there's various ways to attain those financial goals. I think everything works differently for everyone. Some people choose lucrative jobs, work hard, have no time early in life, and then delay certain things to get the financial situation, get ahead of it. Some people choose other routes. There's so many different avenues to get to your financial goals. The realistic ones, hey, I'm sure everybody wants to win the lottery and then like, boom, you're good. And then it still takes understanding your finances and planning, because oftentimes people come into money and then they may lose it because they didn't get very clear on the things that they value and how they're going to manage that money. When you understand the money part, you are very much empowered in making certain decisions to get to your goals. So that's finances, and we could go into details about that another day. Lots of great books on that. So lastly, what I wanted to get to is relationship. So I'd say for me, this is one of the most important areas of life to understand and to get very clear on, because it can touch all those areas, the other areas. It can touch the emotional part. It can touch the physical part. It can touch the time, the career. It can touch the financial part. It can touch contributions. So understanding what you want your relationships to look like. This isn't just romance. Oftentimes the way you move in that relationship can be the way you move in other close relationships if you don't sort certain things out. So that's what I really want to drive home, is this relationship part, this area of your life. When you get very crystal clear on what do you want this to look like for you? What kind of relationships do you want in your life? How are you playing a part in creating those relationships or developing in a way that aligns with your desire? So having that clarity allows you to also see how are you to compare it to how you're operating today, and noticing the gaps. So when you're already noticing the gaps, then you could start to fill in to see, what do I need to do in order to create that life that I want for myself eventually. Like, it can incrementally start to come into fruition. In some cases, you might even notice there's different people that do amazing things that you really value, that you want to implement into your life. And I'd say, if you go back to like the green flags video, is if you consider how you leverage those people in your life. So starting to make those things that you really value and you want to implement for yourself a norm. Are you maybe spending more time with those people and really having that opportunity to put those things in action? Are you also, taking note of those things and practicing those things? Maybe even practicing, they might be a safe place to practice that way of moving in a consistent manner. So again, it becomes a part of your norm, because sometimes, depending upon other areas of your life or other types of relationships, they may be good or not so great at accepting that way of moving, especially if you haven't done that before. So that's just an idea on how you can start to implement that vision. But I strongly suggest, this is one of the things that I did, is really observing like real life, because movies, they're the movies, right? Romanticizing things and like whatever, dramatizing, whatever have you. But real people in your life, and there's always generally something great that you can see how people interact in relationships, and you can start to pick those things and take a note, like write those things down. Which book did I have? Another journal. This one is really for like romance. So I write down like my thoughts on like love and whatever have you, and really getting clear with those and that sort of thing. But having a journal where you're writing these things out. I have like, what do I want in a partner, and how I want to move in that relationship. And they're all realistic. It's not anything crazy, but how can you take those things that you want and you are seeing in the world that people are really doing, and you start to implement it in your life? It might not be towards a romantic partner if you don't have one yet, But you can implement some of these things with your family, with your close friends, and some cases other things are at work, or random people that you meet. There's all sorts of ways to implement new behaviors and still practice and let it become part of your norm without necessarily already being in certain relationships. So in some cases, some people say you need to arrive perfect and all 100% healed when you get into a new relationship, or even just, let's just say, relationships. But in reality, you don't know what you're going to encounter with anybody that may uncover something that you may not have had an issue with, because no one ever hit that little trigger, that little landmine. So my belief is always being ready to address the situation and get the help that you need. So really, when you start with something like shadow work and noticing the feelings and noticing those things and really pausing to self-reflect and understand that, then you could get better at learning what's still there and then addressing it and working it out of your system. So that's my thing on that, is we all got something, right? And some situations bring certain things to surface. But if you're ready and willing and have a clear vision about what sort of life that you want, how you want to move in the world, then you will learn how to make adjustments to get those things and to make it your norm, that new norm. And again, like, as you feel things and things are out of alignment with your vision, you start to address it and you can nip that in the butt. What do they say? Like 21 days of consistent work. Sometimes it can take longer, but you will know when something is your new norm. So I will say, for me, lots of things have changed in terms of being able to have that ability to really recognize my feelings and really address them appropriately and communicate those things. And I will say, with the relationships, I then notice the emotional parts and how to fill in the gaps to make sure I'm doing what I need to do to live my full authentic self. So the whole thing about knowing your visions for your life and being very clear on that is to be living your authentic life, but not in a way of, this is me, la la la, but like, this is the life that I want for myself. Here's the things that I really value, and here's how you're going to see it in me. And that's going to be the way, the life that I want is already being reflected despite me having everything that I want in that life, of being all the way there. So you can live that healthy, in shape life if that's what you want for your physical, even if you're not all the way there, but you're incrementally starting to put in different little habits and things that help you get to that point. So you're already embodying that life that you want, the end state. But it takes being very clear on the life that you want. And I will definitely say, sometimes we think about the materialistic things, the physical things. I want the marriage, the kids, I want the house with the picket fence, but without layering in the pieces that help that come to life and help that stay and stick around and be a beautiful thing through your life. Say you find the partner, right? But if you don't create certain habits to keep that partner and actually have a relationship that is a foundation of communication and love and empathy and understanding and wanting to mutually work through things, then how are you going to keep that relationship flourishing as you grow and evolve along the way? Because it's inevitable for all of us to change in some form or fashion with life and how life moves along. So that's my thing, is really being clear on your vision and your values for your life. You can choose the right people to be with that are in alignment with that. You can choose the right career that is in alignment. You can make the right decisions on finances and how that should go. You can contribute in the way that is in alignment with your values. You have the emotional state that works for you. You're managing your time to allow you to hit these points. It's those sorts of things. And I will say, understanding the vision and values for your life is something that's fundamental to this, what's going on in this channel. I will be speaking about this consistently. So if you like all of this stuff, then please like and subscribe. Stick around with me. I'll share all sorts of things.